Hello, Longhorn.
Hello, Longhorn.
Hello, Longhorn.
So I wore the shirt today for you. I don't know if you saw.
I'm peeping the shirt.
I was looking for vintage. I
Yeah.
always am looking for vintage. So I'll always put Lady Longhorns in eBay to try to see. But this is a company out of Indiana. I'm sure you've seen this shirt.
I have never
You
seen
have never
that shirt.
seen this shirt. It's new.
I want my NIL deal from
You want
this
your
shirt.
NIL,
Yeah, like I
so-
should get some money from this shirt, by the way.
So it says Texas 1986 national champs undefeated. And it's all
Very
about
cool.
y'all's team. They
That's pretty
also
much-
did one for Texas softball.
They did?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
I'm going to be reaching out to that person.
and be like, hey,
Hey,
um,
so you know, I mean, it's been a while, but I do want my money. I do want my money for that.
I like that. So I was, doing research on you, and of course, we're going to talk about how you're a DAA this year. Is it it's a distinguished alumni award, but are you a distinguished alumnus? A distinguished alumna? I never would know what the I think it's a distinguished
There are a couple of
alumna.
options
Yeah.
on it, but
Okay.
we won't waste time talking about the A or the U or the I or the S or the all that.
Well, and a lot of times we'll have people in this podcast. By the way, you're like the #1 podcast fan, and I appreciate you because you said you listened to all the episodes.
Every last one of them.
I also saw that you posted a review.
I did.
So I appreciate you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And I was doing research, and I'm like, okay, so Fran Harris, who is she? Like when she goes and somebody says, "What do you do?" What do you answer? Because there's a lot of answers.
It depends on who I'm talking to.
Okay.
It does. It depends on who I'm talking to. So, because I usually say, okay, where do you want me to start? How do you know me? Do you know me from basketball? Do you know me from television? Do you know me from filmmaking? Literally, that is what I say because, as you know, because you did the research, we could be talking a long time about what I do.
There's so many ways, and we're going to kind of go through, but I kind of just wrote down hustler, serial entrepreneur, and a winner. Because you are a winner.
It's good. Champion. It's good. You can throw that in there.
Champion too?
Mm-hmm,
Okay, is that different than a winner to
It
you?
is indeed. Yeah.
Oh, why?
Because just because you won doesn't mean that you won championships.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
Fair.
Okay.
So let's start in the beginning. Why did you choose the University of Texas? And it is wild to me because I don't know if this could happen in 2025 that you didn't start playing basketball till you were 15.
That is
People
correct.
start now playing when they're like 2.
Organized basketball, I started when I was 15 years old. So
Okay.
I played in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And back then we had a goal in my front yard and people had goals in their backyards or whatever. But I didn't play organized basketball until I was 15 because my mother wouldn't let me. My mother was like, I'm not driving all over. And that was in the 80s. So imagine being a parent today when you're flying all over the place. She was like, we're not doing all that. And by the way, you don't need basketball. You're going to Princeton. You're going to Yale. You're going to Harvard. You don't need blah, blah. And I was like, what does that have to do with playing basketball?
Yeah.
So my oldest brother, Alonzo, who was my first champion and advocate, said, listen, if you let her play basketball, like I'll help with the travel stuff and the going around town playing and pickup and those kinds of things. If you let her play basketball, you won't have to pay for Harvard or Princeton.
Yeah, exactly.
And so mom was like, let's play basketball this. And that literally is how I got permission to play basketball.
And so why did you choose the University of Texas?
Well, I didn't at first.
Okay.
I did not choose the University of Texas at first. Ironically and sadly, my mother passed away when I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
And so the summer that I was going to be a senior, my mother passed away suddenly. And I had a little brother who was 6. So I was 16 when she died. He was 6. And so he was more like my son than my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not bear the thought of leaving him. I just couldn't. I mean, my dad was there. My older sister was there. Like the rest of the family was still there, but we were really, really close. And so I just felt it would be better if I just stayed close to home and was there. It wouldn't be so traumatic for him and those kinds of things. So I made a decision to go to SMU.
Okay.
The only thing about SMU is that they sucked. Their basketball team sucked.
Okay.
But the coach made it very appealing for me. He says, listen, you're a dynamic scorer. You're going to shoot all the buckets. Nobody's ever going to catch your scoring record at SMU, which he was probably right because, again, they sucked.
Yeah.
And I was going to get a lot of opportunities to score and be All-American and all this.
And it's a good school.
And it's a fantastic school. And it's in Dallas and it's in the vein of Harvard. And
Sure.
so, my mother would be smiling down and going, okay, it's not Harvard, but it's SMU. And so I made up my mind I was going there. So back in those days, there was no NIL, transfer portal, heck, no internet, right?
Sure.
So if a kid said they were going to a school, if they were committing to a school, it was pretty much golden. They weren't changing their minds. They were going.
Yeah.
And so back then there was also not the 5 visits that you get in the world. Like when I came out of college, there were 5 visits that a prospect could take to any college they wanted to and have it paid for by the school. That didn't exist. So wherever I went to look for a college, I had to pay for that. Right.
And I'm assuming at that time they weren't doing the like giving you all the merch and taking the photo
You're getting
shoot.
nothing.
Yeah.
You're getting nothing. You
Yeah.
get there with the, the backpack on your back. So it was a pretty easy decision for a lot of reasons that SMU was going to be where I was going. So Texas had sent me the requisite recruiting stuff, the Jody on Bevo and all this stuff. And that's what the recruiting process was like. And so they stopped recruiting me. Everybody did because I said I was going to SMU. But my oldest brother, Alonzo, who also was my first advocate, said, let's just see what Texas has going on. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going to SMU. So he calls, I always say the Jody Conrad. He called Jody Conrad and it's like, yo, like my sister is going to open up her recruiting. And Jody was like, I heard she was going to SMU. And he says, nope. So we're going to come for a visit. He's making this deal. She said, okay. So I went for a weekend to Texas. Annette Smith, who's the all-time leading scorer at Texas, Shell Bolin, they were roommates here. They were a year older than I was. They were my host. Get here. We had a blast. And when I got back to Love Field, my brother picked me up, rolled down the window, because back then you still roll down windows. He goes, well, how was it? I said, I'm going to Texas. It literally happened just like that. I was like, he was like, you got to tell Coach Brown that you're not coming to SMU. I was like, maybe you can do that. And he was pissed. Coach Brown was like, Coach Brown, it was like one of those Army.
Okay.
We regret to tell you that. I was like, I'm not going to be coming to SMU. He was like, what? I was like, I'm going to Texas. What? He was, because that was the recruit that was going to change the program. He was all right. He's all right. He was gonna be okay. But yeah, I just told him. Yeah, he said, "What was it? Was it Jody?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, it was Austin. It was the fact that they don't suck. It was all of that. It was all of those things that really sold me on Texas. It was the package, and that's why I went to Texas.
So you came here. Where did you live in Jester?
I lived in Kinsolving.
Oh, Kinsolving. They didn't put all the athletes.
No.
Were all the basketball girls in Kinsolving?
Yes.
If you were a freshman.
Yeah, all the women athletes were in Kinsolving.
But that's not today.
No.
Okay.
No.
Today they're in Jester?
They're wherever they want to be because they got lots of money and they got lots of choices. But back then it was Kinsolving for most of the women athletes.
Did y'all have like special beds because y'all were athletes and taller?
We should have had special beds because those beds were like the Flintstone beds. For you people out there listening who don't know what the Flintstones are, go to Tubi. But yeah, so I mean, literally, I'm 6 feet and I'm considered tall, but there were women who were much taller than I was.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah, so you kind of scrunched up in your bed back then.
And you guys, I mean, the story goes that you ended up being the first NCAA women's basketball team to go undefeated.
That
it was
is
your
correct.
final year.
Yeah.
Throughout your career at UT, you were, all-time leading scorer when you were there. You were the captain. You guys end up being undefeated and you win the NCAA championship, which even my husband, he's like, wait, that's the only time Texas has won still? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I feel like we're almost there. It's going to happen sooner than later, but it was the only time.
It was the only time. And to really appreciate our 34-0 season, you have to go back a year before that because it's always that precursor. Like what motivated you guys to be undefeated? We didn't care about being undefeated. We just wanted to get back to Austin as a champion. So my junior year at Texas, we were ranked number 1 in the country 3 years in a row. My sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. So high expectations since I got here. My junior year, the Final Four was actually in Austin. So not only was it our goal to get back to play for a national title, but to come back to Austin and play for it. What?
Yeah.
I'm excited just thinking about it. So it was like perfect. Get back to the Frank Irwin Center, God rest his soul, that we could come back here and play for the NCAA title. So we go to Western Kentucky, who we had never even heard of. We were like, where's Bowling Green, Kentucky? What is this place? So we go there. We lose the first game of regional. So there's regional right before the Final Four. We lose the first game. So it's an upset, 92-90. We come back home on the saddest ride of our lives, not just because we lost, but because the Final Four is here. So already sold out.
Yeah.
Because
everybody was expecting
Exactly.
Yeah.
anticipating that we would be back. We get back. It was very depressing. Nobody talks about how hard it is to lose a game that you should win, right? So they talk about all the others, but they don't talk about what it feels like to lose a game that you should win. All the expectations of playing in the Final Four at the University of Texas and in the Etter-Harbin Center. So we come back. We have to attend the Final Four, though, right? Because we can't go hiding. Josie won't let us hide. We're the host.
Yeah.
Yes, we are hosting the Final Four. So now the Final Four is in Austin without us. And we're sitting there watching all these teams live out their dream. And it was the most painful watching of a basketball game that I personally, and I'm sure my teammates feel the same way.
And then that drove you the next year?
And then the next year, it was all business.
Yeah.
It was all business. And it was like, I
Do
don't
you think
care.
that's why? Do you think you had to have that moment to help you in the next year?
That's why I said to appreciate the 34-0 year, my senior year, the national title year, you have to go back a year. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's fun to think about a national title, but what did you have to do to get there, right? Nobody can appreciate that until they know what you had to do to get there.
What was women's basketball fans like in the 80s during that time? You know, it's changed a lot, I would think. Or were y'all filling up? We
were filling up.
You were. We were. Frank Erwin Center.
For sure.
Okay.
We were the South Carolina, the Iowa of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
So that was way before
So fans were on board.
Fans were on board, right? So we go back. We, again, all business that year, came back, had some games where it was close. We almost lost those games. But we weren't trying to be undefeated. That's the thing. People always ask me so did you guys write your goals and you wanted to be undefeated? It was like, no, we never forgot how painful it was not to play on our home court the year that we were supposed to win. So we were the team that should have, could have, didn't. And then ultimately we just started winning. And then it was like, well, hey, we may as well be undefeated. We may as well be undefeated to go for this thing.
So you graduate. There was no WNBA for those.
Correct.
I think that's hard to sometimes fathom that even in the 80s there was no WNBA.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go play in the WNBA. So you went and played overseas for a couple years and then you came back. And then literally like 10 years later after you graduate, the WNBA is created, and 10 years later, which, you know, by basketball standards could say you're an older woman, right? Because you're in your, like, basically early 30s.
Yeah.
So in your early 30s, what you just said, oh no, I'm going to be a part of that. Like I'm going to be in that.
That is so wild to hear somebody else say that, because it's exactly it. Like, I played in Italy. I played in Switzerland. There were many attempts at women's pro basketball. There was a league called the WBL, and it lasted 3 years. And it was before I came out of college. So it was when I came out of high school, that league existed. And then there were several that tried. And of course, during the boom of women's basketball, when we were playing, because we were so good and fans were coming out for us, people started leagues right after we won the national title as well. And there was a league, and there was an Austin team. And that lasted about 3 days. It lasted 3 days.
Okay.
We went to some high school to practice, and then we came to practice one day, and nobody was there. So those kinds of things happened a lot. And then so I go, okay, well, there's nothing for me to do. I go overseas. I play in Italy. I get in grad school, and I'm thinking I'm just going to start my career. I got a job at Procter & Gamble. But I also didn't make the Olympic team in 1988. So the reason I stopped playing basketball is because I was pissed off about that.
Okay.
Yep. So let's just make that clear, that I was supposed to be on the 88 Olympic team, and I didn't make it. Total politics.
Oh, I'd still be pissed.
Exactly. And I go, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm not messing with that stuff anymore.
Okay.
And I truly meant that. So I didn't play basketball for years. And then this 3-on-3 tournament called Hoop It Up started. And it's kind of like, you know, you have a relationship and you're like, I'm done with love. I'm not doing it anymore. And then, you know, the guy kind of comes over and you're like, don't even look at me. I'm not doing that. That's what basketball was doing with me. Like, hey, like, I know you like me, girl. And I was like, I don't like you anymore, okay? I hate you.
Yeah.
You broke my heart. But occasionally, you know, okay, we can go out if we need to. So I started playing basketball again. And then 5 years later, so now it's the full 10 years you mentioned. Actually, it was 11. Full 10 years from the championship season. And I hear about the WNBA. And so I called the WNBA. And I said, hey, I hear there's going to be a league. This is exciting. They were like, yeah, okay. Fran Harris played at Texas. Yeah, we remember you. Like, 11
the
years ago.
80s?
It's
Yeah.
like, we remember you. So, and I quote, "What's your interest?" I said, "What do you mean, what's my interest? I want to play. I'm going to play. I want to know where there are tryouts or whatever." And they were like, "Okay," because they're thinking what you just said. It's been 11 years, girl. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, you're not 90, but you're also not 20.
Sure.
So what is it that you want to do? I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Give me the tryout information. They go, "I think there's a tryout in Houston." I said, "Great. Give me the information." So I called the coach. "You having tryout?" "Yes, Mother's Day weekend. I'll be there." He was like, "Fran Harris." Now, the irony of this story is that the coach in Houston was the same coach of Ole Miss who we beat to go to the Final Four
Okay.
my senior year.
So he knew who you were.
And he knew who I was, and he thought they got cheated. Let's just add that. He didn't think that they really lost that game, that somehow there were some calls. So the irony of this whole situation, me trying to come back and then going with the coach who I had spelled defeat on. So he's like, "Yeah, Fran Harris, I know who you are. Yeah, I'm not sure y'all beat us in that game back in 1986, because he's got a very Southern drawl thing." Like, and I go, "Well, Coach Chancellor, just wondering if I could come to your tryout." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "But you know what? You don't have to come on the first day because it was a 2-day thing. I know who you are. I know how good you were. I know how great you were. Just come on Sunday." So now I'm feeling pressure because I'm not like the other people, right? So all 250 women are coming for this tryout, but I don't have to come on day one because I can come on day two. Now I'm thinking either he doesn't think I'm very good, so it doesn't matter, or he thinks I'm really good still, and so he doesn't need to see a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I go there day two. Literally, it's 250 women the weekend. I'm looking at all these 12-year-olds in the gym, right? Because they're fresh out of college. But what I know that I have is the experience of trying out for things, right? I've tried out for USA national teams. I've played on the top USA national teams my entire career at Texas. So I've played with the best of the best because I was the best of the best. So I get that, but it's been 11 years. Let's not forget, it's been 11 years. And I haven't played that much. And I go there and I just do the best that I can. You know, I know what coaches love. I know how to try out. And at the end of that weekend, there were 2 spots left for the Houston Comets, and I got one of those spots.
Do you think, I think you knew that you were good and
I
that
did.
you could be on the team.
Yep.
Other people could look like, oh, the audacity to,
Totally.
or the lack of fear to just go for it, because
Yeah.
you could have also failed big.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, but you could have won big, you did.
Yes.
But you could also fail big.
Yeah.
And you just didn't care. You were
I
just
didn't
like,
care.
this is what I want, I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, that's generally me in
Okay.
general. Yeah. And I had never, what you just said, I heard what people think about me. I've never really thought about that because I don't really care. I'm going for it. But people think what you said. The audacity, like what?
No, I love it.
No,
Like,
right?
I think, like, I love that you did
Yeah.
that. Let me be clear. I'm
Yeah,
not,
no.
I'm thinking,
No,
like,
I think it's a positive.
I wish everybody could be like that.
No.
Just try.
Yeah, just go for it.
I belong here, yeah.
I heard the audacity in a good and bad, in
Yeah.
a good and like an unbelievable way. It's just what you choose to believe, right?
Yeah.
It's what you choose to step into. And so there are some people who are like, "You're never going to do that." I mean, the things that we'll get to talk about later, people have said like, "You're doing what? You're never." What they don't ever say those words to me, but their facial expressions are like, "There's no way you're going to be able to do that." And the coming back from basketball is the epitome, the physical execution of how are you going to do that after not playing for 11 years?
So we're going to get into post basketball, but again, you were on the very first team. The Houston Comets end up winning the very first championship in the WNBA.
Yeah.
So it is mathematically insane that you were on a winning high school team. You won the NCAA championship for basketball, and then you won the WNBA. Like, you could be the best player in the entire world, but not everything is going to line up that way. There's so much that you were on the right teams
At the right time.
time, and then you showed up.
Yeah.
But when you look back at that and you're like, whoa, how I got to be in all these championship teams. How do you like think about that now?
It's really unbelievable. I mean, my high school team was 40-0. That was my
Yeah.
first year playing. So that wasn't because of me, but the timing, as you mentioned, that I got permission from my mother to play at the right time to
Yeah.
be on a team at a high school that was literally one of the best high schools in the country. These girls were college players. Dennis Rodman's sisters played on my high school team. So they were older than I was, but these girls were literally college players. We
Yeah.
were going through college workouts. Our coach was Gary Blair, who ended up taking A&M to an NCAA title in 2011. So we had the best coach in the world. We had the best girls in the world. 40-0. That's ridiculous, right? I only lost like 4 games in my high school. And then I come to college and I only lost 9 games at Texas.
And you had a great coach.
And a great coach. I mean, it really was insane. And then to go to the WNBA and won the first WNBA championship. I don't know how that all lined up, but I'm one of the few people who won championships at every level in the world, not just in Texas. But to be a part of that, it's special. And there is a difference than being in a winning program where all you do is win, no matter what. But but also winning championships, because there's something that happens to your DNA when you consistently win championships, not just games, because it takes something else to come back from adversity, as we did my junior year, and to have the audacity to be undefeated the next year, just simply because of the pain that we went through the previous year.
And you know how to win. Those things taught you how
it teaches you how to do it,
how to win.
Yeah.
So you played in the WNBA 2 years, and then your career started. Well, it had already started because you had a job. But okay, so I think let's start with, I don't even know where we should start, but I want to talk about, like, you're an entrepreneur. How many companies do you think you've started
in my
or
life?
thought about starting?
Oh, oh God. So actually started probably 15 or 20.
Okay. And when you left the WNBA, is that what you thought you were going to do immediately, is start companies?
So I started doing TV before
you started
I played
doing
the WNBA.
TV because you were a journalism major here.
Yeah, I was a journalism
major. You have a big personality. You're natural. Yeah.
Opinionated. And, that's what it takes to be in sports announcing. So I started that right after, like 4 years before the WNBA started.
Okay.
I sent a tape, because that's what you did, children. You sent videotapes to networks. I sent my videotape to ESPN.
VHS, yeah.
Yeah, VHS. And they said, not yet. I mean, not yet. We see something, but not yet. And again, audacity. I want people to hear it. Audacity to send a tape to ESPN.
You're like, just going to the top. Because you wanted to what?
Totally.
Be an announcer at
I
that
wanted to be
point.
an announcer for women's or men's basketball or whatever. And ESPN back then was the only national platform for sports. So competition was fierce. Very few people got there. And no women.
No, and the only spot the woman got, and still it's changing.
It's changing.
But it's the cute girl on the sidelines asking the, like, fun questions.
Fun questions. Yeah. Robin Roberts was at ESPN.
Yeah.
So Robin, the pinnacle of, we were all like, wow, we want to do what Robin does.
Sure, because she played basketball.
She played basketball. Yeah. But we were she was the only one.
Yeah.
So the audacity, and I want people to hear that. Like, you have to be audacious. You have to go, I'm going for the top, or wherever you're going for, and not be afraid to receive feedback, criticism, no's, because ESPN essentially said no. They said, not now, right? So I said, oh, but you didn't say no. You didn't say no. You said,
not now.
Okay, not now. Check back with us. And a year later, I did, and I got hired. Like, literally, no experience other than my knowledge of basketball, my big personality, my audacity to just go for it. And they said, okay, we're going to give you a couple games. So they gave me a couple games.
Women's basketball.
Okay. Because don't you dare give women sports that are not women. Because that's how it was. To some degree, it's been that way for the last, maybe for the last 5 years.
Sure.
But if you wanted to be on television, you were going to get a women's game. So that's cool. It's a place for me to get started. I go, I do it. I was so freaking nervous because I'm not just sitting here talking to you, Sarah. I'm in millions of households. And it hit me when the light comes on, because what happens in television, somebody stands near the camera and then they count you down. 3, 2, and then they go. It was crazy. But audacity, it's like, okay, we'll get through this. We'll get through this very awkward period of being on television.
You have to, so I did radio for 20 years, and you just have to acknowledge that when you start, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you're going to suck.
You really
and when you
are.
look back on those tapes, when you first start, you don't know how to talk normal. When a mic is in front, all of a sudden, all the saliva just like leaves your mouth and you're swallowing all the time.
Oh
and
my gosh.
your big words that you don't normally use in conversation are already like coming out. But you just have to, and this is for anybody, it doesn't matter how talented you are. You just have to start, and you have to be okay that you're going to not be what you will be.
Yep.
Like you just have to do it.
Yep. You have to have the courage to suck.
So I want to kind of like break up different, you have on your Instagram. So I'll just kind of go by that. You have, and we'll start with founder of Electra, featured on Shark Tank. So you were on Shark Tank, which I find fascinating. There's so many Longhorns that I've now found that have been on Shark Tank. One day we're going to have a panel of all the Shark Tank people. Electra is your electrolyte company.
Yep.
And I did not know that you had only launched it 10 days prior. So let's go back to the word audacity. So you decide to go on Shark Tank with a company that wasn't even fully formed yet. Is that correct? I mean, it was
sort of accurate.
It was formed.
Yeah.
But it's not like you had been over there for 3 years building it. You just said, I'm going to launch this thing on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So quickly, thing you wish you had known before you went to Shark Tank, and thing you're really grateful for about Shark Tank.
The thing I wish I had known before I went to Shark Tank is that there was going to be a global pandemic.
Oh, okay.
There is that. Had I known that, I might not have gone on Shark Tank, because I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then what was the second question?
Yeah, like what are you grateful for?
Grateful that I went on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Like grateful that even despite what we were hearing about what was going to happen, I had already recorded my episode. I'd already taped the episode, right? That's what happens in television. You record it, you tape it way before it airs. But when I got on there, the pandemic literally killed so many companies.
Was that just part of your marketing decision? Hey, I'm going to go on Shark Tank, and that will be the launch of my company, and I'm going to get $100,000 from Barbara, and that'll be great. Okay. And you go in there, and they're like, oh, how long have you had the company? And you're like, 10 days. That's crazy. Do you know how many people have been like, why are you laughing? It's crazy, but I love it so much.
I can't tell you how many people will be like, you're crazy. Like, so when you said that, I can see like this other people who are like, who does that? Okay, so
they accepted you and you got on. So hey,
that's right.
You win.
That's right. I saw Shark Tank and I was like, I'm gonna be on that show. That's how everything started with me. I was like, I'm gonna do that. And then people around me were like, here you go. Like, yeah, I am. I'm gonna be on that show. And so sent in my application. They loved me. I sent in a crazy audition tape, just being me. But then to get on there and to be in that, my whole thing from a marketing standpoint, like, where can you better launch a product than Shark Tank? Tell me, anybody, even today, tell me where you can launch a product better than Shark Tank.
Okay.
9 million people watching you, right? So for me, it was like perfect. It's like, this is perfect. My ad budget's going to go way down. My marketing budget's going to go. I'm just going to stand in front of 9 million people. I don't even care if I get the deal because I'm in front of 9 million people. And that was my plan.
Okay. And then the pandemic happened.
Oh my God. Then the pandemic happened.
So like a true entrepreneur, I think your story is a great example of success is not a straight line. There's lots of peaks and valleys, which is the common story of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
That's the majority of every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like, no one just strikes it immediately.
Man, I don't wish a pandemic on any company, but it taught me so much. So I'm on Shark Tank Friday night, Saturday morning. So Friday night, let me just paint a picture for what happens when you're on Shark Tank. When you're on Shark Tank, the number of sales that come through your Shopify or whatever your cart is mind blowing. And so I turned on the dollar sign sound because I want to hear it. I want to hear it all night. All night. That's all I want to hear to tell me how successful this launch has been. And that's what happened. 2 days later, after all the ching-chings on my phone, I get a call from one of my suppliers. And they say, are you sitting down? Which is never a good sign, right? I was laying down. So I was like, because it was early. And I said, why are you calling me? He goes, are you sitting down? I go, I'm laying down. What's up? He goes, your bottles are in the Atlantic Ocean.
Like actually in it or on a boat in the Atlantic Ocean?
It's a good clarification. My bottles were on a barge in the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
So, because we were liquid at the time, we weren't powders, we're powders now. I said, wait a minute, what? What? Your bottles are, you heard me, they're in the Atlantic Ocean and they're not getting to the United States or, wherever they are until 6 to 8 weeks, which we know as entrepreneurs means 8 to 16 weeks.
So all those Shark Tank orders.
All those orders
not going to be in people's homes.
So the level of anticipation for the episode, then the anticipation that's transferred to the customer, as you just pointed out, that they just saw this person on Shark Tank, the association, I'm with the winner, and now I'm gonna get her product, and now I'm gonna be drinking this thing because she said it was amazing, and Mark said it was amazing, and everybody said it was amazing, and now it's not gonna happen. So literally they say 6 to 8 weeks, again 8 to 12 weeks, which really means double that. Everybody in business knows it's not really what they tell you. So it was so deflating. I was like, what? And the first thought was exactly what you said was, am I going to have to refund 1,500 orders?
Yeah.
I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm praying about guidance. What should I do? And I always know that what I should do is what I do. And that is honesty, clarity, transparency, audacity. And I go, I don't want to refund these orders. So I'm just going to tell people what happened. I'm just going to say, here's what's happening. Funniest thing happened when my bottles were on their way back to the United States. They didn't make it, right? And so I decided to go live every day until those bottles came. And the first day I went live, I was like, guys, thank you guys for ordering all this stuff. I know you're really excited about it, but here's what happened. And I just did a live video on that on my website. And some people were like, oh, send me my money back, right? Because that was my fear, was like, everybody's going to be a mass refund. I don't want that, right? Because I like money. I mean, that's the main reason I don't want it. My brand is good, and I like the success. But I think probably 0.001% people asked for a refund. And mostly everybody said, we get it. Literally.
And now it's a powder. And people can buy it.
It is. But the journey from what I just said to what you just said was 2 years. Because we launched, we got an HEB. Right. It still was a great story. But when the pandemic hit, it just, the supply, the demand, the supply chain, like it was maddening. We filled all the orders eventually. And then, but the pandemic, even though it was like 1920, it lasted, the impact of it was like 2 or 3 more years. And it just became too difficult. So I was like, I'm going to shut this down.
Okay.
So I literally shut Electra down, filled all the orders. We did powders. We got to produce some powders, but even supply chain was crazy. And then I decided to reformulate. And I said, I'm going to launch again. I'll relaunch in like 2025. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. So you're relaunching.
Relaunching its powders.
Okay.
This month.
Very
in September.
Cool. Okay. Now, also on your Instagram, you talk about how you're a sports announcer for the Dallas Wings. That is the WNBA team with Paige Beckers in Dallas. So there's a game tonight. Does that mean you're driving to Dallas tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't do all the games.
I don't do all of them.
How is that being in the WNBA right now and being in those arenas where, as an outsider, it feels like everybody's real tuned in now.
Yeah.
We're all watching. We're watching for the storylines. We have all these little girls are coming. All these dads are bringing their daughters. It feels different. Now, you played it in the first year.
Yep.
How does it compare?
So it is different. Now, the first year, it was like it is now. So just to paint the picture for everybody. And it was like it is now because it was the first year.
And I remember, because I was born in 1980, I remember the names Cheryl Swoops.
Yeah, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper. Those were my teammates.
Yeah.
First few years, it was amazing because it was like finally a real league. There had been attempts. I mentioned WBL. There was the ABL, which was the league that was a precursor to the WNBA. They kind of overlapped. And that was a wonderful league. They didn't have the financing to do what the WNBA did because it was obviously backed by the NBA. So the first few years, incredible. Fans like there are now. Literally, we averaged 16,000 fans in Houston. So it was very big, very exciting. Now, the partners weren't there. And so what we've seen is the gap of the WNBA launching. The novelty has worn off. And then there was a lull. And now women's basketball in general has arrived at the college level, at the AAU level. And so it makes sense that the WNBA is extremely lit right now because the evolution of the sport has gotten to that point.
Do you feel finally?
I do.
Yeah.
I do feel like finally, like I can't believe how how
Did you ever think we'd get here to where we are today? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I mean, we're like 50 years behind the NBA.
Sure.
And of course, it's like the vote. I mean, think about it. If you think about women's sports, think about all the other rights that humans have that women didn't have, voting, financial, all those things. So I feel like sports are just finally catching up. Our women's sports are just finally catching up. But I knew we would get here.
And so
it's inevitable.
The next story, Fran Harris, real big in 2024, you were everywhere, was because there was an option to have another WNBA team. And you were leading the charge for us to get one in Austin. We ultimately did not get it, which is a huge fail. Cleveland. What? We did not get it.
Yeah.
But you led that charge.
I did.
And you were going to, at the end of the day, with some people, own a WNBA team here in Austin.
Yes.
And you were out there pitching and fundraising is what I think you had to do.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you put in an application, but you have to sell why this city is the best.
Yeah.
And again, ultimately, we did not get it. But then you said, okay, then I'll just create my own league. Is that what you're now working?
Pretty much.
Again, you're like, oh, that door closed for now, so I'm going to go open up my own door, which feels very on theme with you.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and not getting a WNBA team here was no fault of Austin. It was no fault of mine. I mean, it just for people who are curious about the process. It is an anomaly. It is an unknown process, right? You never really know how these owners become owners of these teams or whatever. But in the WNBA, the NBA owns part of the WNBA. And so part of what we had to do was to rally the city around, do we want a team, Austin?
Yes.
And then you had to raise an ungodly amount of money.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions.
Yeah, so I raised over $400 million.
Yeah.
For that. And that's just the money
that's the promised money.
That's people promised money, but those people were accepted in our investor group. There was a whole other 800 million over here of people who were like, if y'all need couple, can we get in?
We're over here, yeah.
We're over here, exactly. So over $1 billion, right? A help raise. And so there's the money aspect, then there's the city aspect, and then there's the who's on your team aspect. And so we had Mark Lazary, who used to own the Milwaukee Bucks, who won an NBA champion. We also had a woman named Jenny Just, who just brought her company here. So these two people are billionaires. Kevin Durant, who we know played at Texas, who's now playing in Houston. So we had the bomb investment group, right? No question. But what most people don't understand is that if the NBA wants the NBA to eat, then they're going to give them the franchises. And that's pop. That's not even me pontificating. That's fact.
Like, what does that mean?
They gave the franchises to NBA owners.
Got it.
That's it. I mean, that's
Got it.
Not one independent team that was up for it at the same time that I was got a team. Kansas City didn't get one. Austin didn't get one. St. Louis didn't get one. Nashville didn't get one. And those cities are much better than some of the ones that they chose.
Do you think they didn't get one yet? Do you think that there's
possible? It's possible.
In the next decade?
It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, it is very possible. I know that, and this is not, again, me, spitfiring or anything like that. This is in media where Adam Silver goes, it's not a matter of if Detroit's going to get a team. It's a matter of when. I was like, wait a minute, Detroit is applying for, because Detroit's applying for a team. I wasn't aware of that. So that's what I mean. Like, there's not, the process is not like you don't get a manual saying, here's how you prepare for you learn, you figure it out, you're in the know, and you go out there and you compete as hard as you could.
So let's talk about, you raised,
a lot of
as
money.
you said, a lot of money. So you're a really good fundraiser.
Yeah.
What makes you a good fundraiser, and what's your secret?
Great question.
Because that's the question all entrepreneurs hate to do it, have to do it. So you better love to do it because it's what you have to do.
Right.
So,
so part of what makes me good at raising money is I'm extremely passionate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also extremely knowledgeable about what I'm selling. And I believe, like, I know what an investor wants from their investment. So they want somebody who's leading the charge that people are going to listen to. And if they're enthralled by my story, they know other people are going to be enthralled by the story of telling the story of our team in Austin. The other thing is you got to understand that it is a business deal. It is a money deal. So don't talk about your, how passionate, how much I love the WNBA. Like, all those things are given.
Dreams.
Yes, my hopes and dreams. Like, that's obvious. We get that. But how are we going to get this money back? How are we going to build this team? What's going to make our team and our bid different than anything else? So I am masterful at marketing and figuring out the differentiators and the things that I sell. And again, it is an emotional decision for investors, but it's also a business decision for investors. So you need to pull the right heartstrings, figure out what those are for each investor. So if I'm talking to somebody who is in Austin, don't you want your granddaughters? But I'll talk about that. If they're not in Austin, then it's like, here's why Austin is better than Nashville, right? If they're thinking about going to Nashville or thinking about going somewhere, here's why Austin, here are all the indicators that Austin is the best city for this, those kinds of things. So,
and so now what's next is you're looking into.
Yes, I was pissed for a week when we didn't get it.
Well, only a week?
I
would be like pissed longer.
I had to move on because my thing, first of all, I've already looked at all the opportunities, even before choosing, because I did choose to raise for a WNBA team. There are many other things I could have raised for, but that's my sport. This is my city, whatever. So, but the other thing is I was pissed because there's nothing I could have done, right? So the lack of control over the process pissed me off.
Yeah.
Right? Like you raised $1 gagillion. You have an amazing team. The story's good. You, Austin, Kevin Durant. I mean, it's perfect. But you don't control the fact that Austin is not an NBA city. There's nothing you can do about that. And that's who these people are getting the teams. You can't control that.
Yeah.
No matter. And I put all the things. That's the other thing about raising. You gotta head off the what do you call those? The potholes that you might run into in your pitch. So when people go, why Austin? Why not? Blah 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 blah. Then I gotta tell them why Austin. Well, why didn't you bring this person in? And then I gotta tell them whatever. So you're always trying to head off the things that might get in the way of a yes from an investment standpoint. But the main thing is, I just like to win, and so I was already ready for what I was going to do if it didn't work out. And so I was like, I'm starting the league because it's needed.
So you're going to start an Exalt. It's called Exalt, and that is because there are so many women playing college basketball. There's nowhere for them to go. Let's talk about baseball and the amount of leagues that there are for dudes.
Gosh.
And I don't know about softball for them to go to. Same with basketball. There's just
Totally.
so many different leagues.
Totally.
Those don't exist
For
for
women's basketball.
women. So it's either you go pro or you don't, or you go overseas. But there's nothing to stay here to hopefully then go up to the next level, right?
16,651 women played college basketball last year. 16,651 women played college basketball last year. And there are 156 spots in the WNBA. I mean, you don't need me to do the math on that. Like, that's a lot of women who have to retire from the sport they love at 23 years old.
So where are we in the process with this league?
We're launching in June.
You're launching in June, and it'll be different teams around.
Yeah, so I won't give out the biz plan, but Austin is the headquarter. I can tell you that Austin is the headquarters for Exalt, and so
I love it that you're just like, whatever, NBA, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, whatever. And so Austin's headquarters, so there will be a big presence here for Exalt.
Okay.
And we launch next June, and our goal is to create an ecosystem of not just women, but girls who can see the pathways to opportunities inside and outside the sport of basketball.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, we're back to why you're here today as well, that you are a 2025 Distinguished Alum. So every year, and I'm going to read this. So every year, they pick 5 or 6, and this is an award that Texas Exes has had since 1958 to honor alumni who have distinguished themselves in their profession, community, and through service to the university. And you are one of 6 this year that will be honored in November. So what did that mean to you when you got the call?
That was fun. I was driving from Dallas. I'd just done called a game for the Dallas Wings. And I'm just, driving because this is my quiet time. And then the phone rings. I notice it is a 202 area code. Now, the ironic thing is I just talked to someone from the 202 area code, which was weird.
I don't even know where 202 is.
DC.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just spoken to someone maybe 30 minutes before this call came in, and I thought that's who it was because I don't typically answer the phone if I don't know who it is. Mm-hmm. So I see 202. I think it's the same guy I talked to before. So I go, hello? And the voice on the other end said, is this Fran Harris? I said, maybe. Who is this? And then she said, oh, my name is whatever her name was, and I'm with Texas Exes, and are you aware that you've been nominated for a Distinguished Alum Award? And I said, no. I mean, I'm still like, not, what's going on here? And she goes, well, you have. And so then she tells me, and I was really happy. Like, I'm smiling now. I was really happy about it because I didn't anticipate it. I didn't know I'd been nominated. I had no idea who nominated me, but you know, it's a big deal. And so we talked for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and she was effervescent. She was bubbling all over the place and how excited it was. And it's been so much fun learning about you. And so it was it's like one of the best calls I've ever gotten.
Well, it's fun, right? Like when you look at your career and how much you've done for UT and how you're part of the history of UT, you're still on the all-time scorer list. Yeah. What are you, 7 now? Is that fun to watch yourself as new people come in? Does it make you happy?
Let me say something about the number 7, me being on the number 7 list of the UT's all-time scoring list. If there had been a 3-point line when I played, let me tell you.
Was there not?
There was no 3-point. It came in. Okay, this is what's crazy.
Wait, I think
God has a whole 6th sense of humor. Okay, so it came in the year after I left UT.
What, they thought women couldn't shoot 3 points?
I don't know what they thought, but they instituted 3-point line the year after I got to UT. But the crazy thing is, I actually got skipped a grade. So had I not gotten skipped a grade, I would have been a senior in 1987, and I would have gotten to play where there was a 3-point line.
You're like, I just wish I could have had that.
I just could have had that. I would give anything. Leave me in the 2nd grade. I don't care. I want to shoot a 3-pointer. If there had been a 3-point line, nobody would have ever caught me. Ever.
Well, when people think about Fran Harris, a distinguished alum, what do you hope they think about?
Audacity.
Okay.
I hope they think about that, whether it's business or basketball, I've been a champion all my life.
I did not ask this really dumb question at the beginning, but where was your favorite place to go get food when you're on campus or around campus?
That's a great question. There was a place called GM Steakhouse. Has anybody ever talked about that?
I hear they were mean.
Oh,
that they were rude. Like that was their shtick.
That's possible.
They were dry.
Oh, they were very dry.
Yeah.
Very dry. But that place was really, really good. Really greasy, but really good. But there was also, so here is Consolving on whatever street that is. And then there was the financial aid office because I did get financial aid when I was here. And then right across Guadalupe, there was a Jack in the Box.
Yep.
That was my spot. It's not there anymore. But my teammates and I were like, how much you got? How much you got? Okay, we can get like 3 breakfast jacks. Like that was the spot.
That's the other comment is, if you had come during NIL, you would have not been putting your quarters together for Jack in the Box tacos.
Listen, 100%. So irritated that NIL did not exist because we all know I would have killed the game on NIL.
Yeah, like, it would be fun.
It would be fun, right?
It would be fun to see what money you would have put together.
Man, that would have been like, I think about all the things that were around at that time. I was like, wow. Okay, I'll just have to watch from the sidelines this time.
Well, thank you so much, and hook 'em horns. Do y'all have a question? You don't have to. We covered a lot of things.
You should always have questions.
Okay.
There you go.
You should always have a question.
You should always have a question.
Make it up.
Yeah, really.
My name's Aubrey. It's been inspiring to hear you talk today, and I'm a business major too, so it's cool to see that you're a go-getter and you just go after what you want. So I'm curious if in your basketball career you had I guess sort of like a pregame ritual, and that you kind of carried over to like standing in front of investors, going on Shark Tank, or like just launching your product. Like, what's your mentality going into that? And like, did that come from basketball?
That's a great question. So I was never one of these people who would, I wear a burnt orange sock over here and a black one over here. You know, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't believe in superstition, but I do, to your question, I do to this day. And I used to do this when I'd go before a game. I would stand in front of the mirror and I was like, you're going to be great. Like, you're going to be great. Now, that's evolved over the years. Like, when I'm pitching and stuff, I'm like, and then I just laugh. And then I just go in there and just be you. And that has always been my ritual, no matter what I'm doing.
Well, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have a question? I love it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jasmine Banal. I'm a current junior business honors major here at UT. And I guess my question is, how do you think UT has, I guess, played a role in your success, especially being nominated for the Distinguished Alumnus Award? What does that, I guess, feel like for you? Is it like a full circle moment? How has, I guess, you've seen UT contribute to your success?
The great thing about the DAA award is that it's not an athletic distinction. So that tells me I've been busy making a difference everywhere I've been. And to be recognized, for that to be recognized, though, by the university feels, I have a tremendous amount of pride for that, because this is a brand that's globally known. And whether people like it or not, they know about the University of Texas. So anytime there's an opportunity to be awarded, celebrated by UT, it's a very big deal. And no matter where I go in the world, seriously, people will be like, so where'd you play? And I'll be like, Texas. They're like, so the people know the brand, they know the level of the brand. And I know that having made the decision to come here instead of going to SMU was one of the best decisions I made, because the brand is so globally recognized and respected.
Yes, and can I ask another question?
Sure.
So with starting your own league, I guess, what are you looking forward to the most, or where do you see it? I guess, what is your vision for it? What is your personal vision?
When you started asking that question, the first thing that came in my mind was the people in Austin rallied around my efforts to bring a WNBA team here. I mean, people were nuts. They were ready. They were excited. But also, it's such an audacious goal that there were people who were like, God, I can't believe this is actually going to happen, right? And so when we were not awarded the team in February of 2025, I think the city was really disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed. And because of that, I wanted to get us a win. I mean, I knew that if I didn't get it, I was already going to start. Like, I already knew that when I was pitching the W. But I felt like Austin deserves a women's basketball story. They do. A huge one, a global one, not just a local one. And so when we didn't get it, I was excited in the back of my mind. I was going to let time pass a little bit before I announced what was going to happen with Exalt. But that's because I felt like Austin truly, truly deserved it and would celebrate and rally around not just a team, but the fact that we get to lead and become thought leaders in the world of women's sports by having a league headquartered here. So we're excited.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, great questions.
Well, yeah, I know. I always I'm like, oh, dang, they asked the best question.
Well, cool. I'll just say
Hello?
that I'm very excited to hear your speech at
Oh, cool.
DAA, because you're going to bring energy. It's going to be the best speech.
Thank
So
you.
anybody coming after you, they probably should just put you last, because your energy is going to be so high. Well, thank you, and hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.
Yay.